Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping straight into a massive, profound philosophical inquiry, and we are unpacking it entirely through the lens of one incredibly powerful ancient text, Destiny's Alteration, Puranic Insights. You know, for thousands of years, across practically every culture on the planet, humanity has wrestled with the exact same tension. It's that classic friction between predetermined fate and human free will. Are we all just actors, simply reading lines from a cosmic script handed to us the second we were born? Or do we actually hold the pen? Well, today we're going to strip away all the modern noise, and we are diving deep into how this specific ancient framework tackles that exact debate. And we're not just hovering over broad, abstract concepts here. We are going to break down the highly specific, mechanical solutions this text offers for literally one of the oldest, most intense philosophical dilemmas in human history.
Okay, let's dive into this. The central question posed directly by our source material is just massive. Can you change your karma? Now, to really appreciate the stakes of this question, we have to define what karma actually means in the context of this text. In popular culture, karma is kind of misunderstood. We treat it like a cosmic punishment or reward system, right? Like a judge sitting up in the sky keeping score. But in this ancient framework, karma is simply the Sanskrit word for action. That's it. It's essentially Sir Isaac Newton's third law of motion, but applied to the human soul. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. It's an absolutely unbroken chain of cause and effect. So the source material introduces a terrifying but totally logical premise. If your past actions created your present circumstances, are you hopelessly trapped by your own history? If the dominoes have already been pushed, is there any way to interrupt the sequence? Well, for anyone who has ever felt completely stuck in a repetitive pattern, this text steps right into the arena to offer a direct, highly empowering answer.
I want you to think about the title itself for a second. Destiny's Alteration, Puranic Insights into Changing Karma. It forces this deliberate, fascinating juxtaposition. When we say destiny, we traditionally mean something written in stone, right? A completely predetermined path that you have absolutely zero control over. The ultimate fatalistic view. But the word alteration? That implies action. It implies a conscious, intentional shift. Our source material deliberately pairs these totally opposing concepts together to highlight a major historical shift in thought. You see, before the era of these Puranic texts, a lot of ancient Vedic philosophy leaned heavily towards strict fatalism. It relied on highly complex rituals that really only the elite could even perform. Basically, if you had bad karma, you were kind of out of luck unless you had access to highly specialized priests. But the framework we're exploring today completely democratized spirituality. It introduced the radical, game-changing idea that what we often assume is totally fixed, our destiny, might actually be wonderfully malleable in the hands of the everyday person.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact transition our text is navigating. We're moving away from the rigid assumption of a fixed destiny right into the active proposition of destiny's alteration. The source material explains this by breaking down the timeline of our actions. In this framework, there's accumulated past karma. Think of it like arrows that you've already shot from a bow. You can't unshoot them. They're currently in the air, flying straight toward their target. That represents the parts of your life that feel totally fixed. But, and this is a huge but, the text introduces the concept of the actions you are taking right now, in this exact present moment. These are the arrows that are still sitting in your quiver. The core argument here is that while you cannot stop the arrow that was already fired in the past, you can absolutely fire a new arrow right now to intercept it, deflect it, or totally change its trajectory. It literally moves the reader from passive acceptance to active, empowered engagement.
So you might be wondering, where exactly do we find the methodology to fire these intercepting arrows? Well, the text anchors its entire argument in a highly specific ancient framework known as the Puranas, and it's really important to understand what the Puranas actually are to grasp why this source material relies on them so heavily. While older, more esoteric texts, like the Upanishads, deal in abstract, high-level cosmic philosophy, the Puranas are essentially the ancient world's survival guides. Yes, they are these vast encyclopedias of lore, but functionally, they are ground-level, practical manuals for everyday people. They don't just toss out vague platitudes about being a good person. No, they offer targeted methodologies, specific remedies, and actionable steps designed to intentionally counterbalance negative karmic momentum. They are literal, practical toolkits for altering the spiritual equation of your life.
Within the context of our source text, the Puranas represent the framework offering those actionable insights into whether and exactly how karma can be changed. And this is where we get into the absolute core mechanics of the text. The insights detailed in these ancient manuals outline specific mechanisms for making this alteration happen. First up, there's the concept of dana, which is basically strategic charity. The text suggests that giving away wealth, food, or knowledge acts as a real energetic counterweight on your karmic scales, neutralizing past greed. Second, there's tapas, or disciplined penance. This means willingly undertaking temporary hardship to burn off the debt of past mistakes. And finally, and perhaps most importantly in the Puranas, there's bhakti, or intense devotion. The texts describe devotion as a literal fire. If your past karma is a collection of seeds just waiting to sprout into difficult life circumstances, the fire of intense devotion roasts those seeds. And as the source material brilliantly points out, a roasted seed can never grow. This is the exact practical lens through which the text claims destiny is altered.
So the crucial point is this: karma is not a fixed trap. Alteration is definitively possible. Based on the insights from this incredibly rich ancient framework, your life is not some predetermined cage that you're stuck in. It is a living, breathing equation. Every conscious action you take, every single moment of disciplined focus, and every act of restorative charity is actively rewriting the code of your destiny. By explicitly outlining the mechanisms of dana, tapas, and bhakti, the text completely rejects the notion of absolute fatalism. It assures the reader that while the momentum of your past is certainly real, and yeah, it can be heavy, the agency you hold in the present moment is infinitely more powerful. You are not just the inheritor of your past, you are the active architect of your future.
So, if the Puranas are right, and destiny is indeed a malleable force rather than a closed book, what will you change today? Our explainer today was entirely built on unpacking the exact mechanisms of this fascinating text, and honestly, the practical implications are truly massive. It completely reframes how we view our daily choices. Every interaction, every small act of generosity, and every single moment of intentional discipline isn't just some fleeting event, it is a deliberate adjustment to your karmic trajectory. It challenges all of us to look at our own personal agency through a highly empowering lens. You hold the pen. The arrows are in your quiver. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into destiny's alteration. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.